This one's pretty personal,
Yeah.
but when my pops was pretty sick,
Yeah.
during that time, my relationship with God and even some of my family got really. Sorry, man. This is kind of hard for me to talk
Yeah,
about.
you're cool.
Yeah.
So, welcome to It Was All a Dream with me, Nathan. Today I'm joined by Scott. Scott, if you want to introduce yourself, let people know who it is and what you do.
Brother, thanks for having me.
Pleasure.
What's going on, everybody? My name's Scott Ramos. I'm an artist, an entrepreneur, and there's a lot more that I do, but that's who I am. That's what I do.
That's your title. That's perfect. So, obviously, you're a barber, painter, now stepping into the stylist game on the recent adventure with Tour of Lavish. So, has it always been your dream to step into like barbering and styling, or?
I think really what my dream was really just to have a career, something that I actually enjoyed doing. Because being the youngest in my family, I was able to see how hard my parents worked. I never really saw a job that my mom liked. So at a young age, I was like, okay, I want to do something that I enjoy. And my dad working two jobs, I see how hard you have to work to be able to provide for your family.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't want to work as hard as my dad. I don't want to be gone for the entire day. But it's funny because I'm gone longer
Yeah.
than he was. You know what I mean? But yeah, it was always a dream of mine to be doing something creative without actually knowing it was my dream. At a young age, I was very artistic. I was always drawing. Like when I was watching cartoons, I wouldn't watch it like a regular kid.
Yeah.
Obviously, I love the storyline and everything, but back in my day, I'm 33, so we didn't have smart TVs, none of that, right? Or YouTube. So like every time there's a cartoon on TV, I'd record it on VHS and then play it back on my VHS so I could press pause, put a piece of paper on the TV, trace it, and that's how I started to learn how to draw. And then in high school, very hip hop and basketball influenced. So everything that I'd see on TV, from the outfits to the way that they walk, the way that they dance and sing, I was very intrigued by someone's image and how they looked, because I had a lot of older cousins growing up, and I have a big bro, and I was surrounded by a lot of cool.
Yeah.
They'd always be wearing the newest Nikes, Jordans, even still to this day, it's like that. And I'm like, I'm gonna out cool all these guys. So I'd see Usher, for example. I don't know if you guys know who Usher is, but
Yeah.
he's one of like my favorite artists. And just the way that he would dance, I'd be in my parents' crib practicing all these crazy dance moves. And he just had this one haircut. It was a buzz cut with a lineup all around his head, no fade, nothing.
Yeah.
So that's how I wore my hair. I'd shave my own head and line myself up. Next thing you know, everyone's like, "Yo, where'd you get the haircut?" And then now I'm cutting my cousins and my homies, and then it just grew from there. So I don't know if I answered your question, but
Yeah, no, that was cool. That was cool. Um, so then going based on that, you mentioned about Usher there. Would you so would you say that he was one of your idols? And is there anybody else that you had as a idol or a inspiration to chase that dream? So anybody supporting you, pushing you to do it, and anything like that. It can either be from a business standpoint or a personal. So like, Michael Jordan had a great mentality of like that he's just gonna do better, and if anybody ever like offended him in any way, he's like, I'm getting payback on that. So, is there anybody from like a business point or even a personal point that was a hero or an inspiration to you?
Well, there's definitely many to name, but I'll start with personal. Of course, my family.
Yeah.
And I feel bad leaving someone in my family out. So my mom, my dad, my sister, and my brother, and that's facts. It's true. But someone I can relate to the most was my siblings, and my brother being a male, and that male figure in my life. I'd say my big bro.
Was a big inspiration for you.
Big inspiration. And then we could relate it to celebrities. Obviously, who didn't look up to The Rock?
Yeah.
I still look up to The Rock. Michael Jordan, of course, and I don't know, the list goes on, but definitely my idols were and are my family.
Okay, cool. That's lovely, man. How did you achieve this success of opening up your first shop, as well as now opening up your second shop and obviously stepping into styling? You've done a lot. So how did you achieve that level of success?
So how I achieved that level of success as a barber or hairstylist or anyone in the beauty industry, you're gonna start off by working elsewhere for someone else, for a chain of something, of some franchises of some sort, or some people may just dive right into their own business.
Yeah.
I've always had a dream of having my own shop, and I feel like everything that we go through, all the places that we work, or even people that we date, will lead you to the right place or person.
Yeah.
So my first ever real job was actually in a salon, in a hair salon, and I was done hair school. I just wanted to listen to hip hop and do fades and designs and everything. But I'm working in like a fancy salon. My ex-boss, she's like, pull your pants up. I was like, why? She's like, Scott, like, stop wearing your hat backwards, or do your hair, you have nice hair. I'm like, okay. And at first I hated it. I'm like, why do I work here? Why am I here? But working there and working with majority women, I was able to learn a lot about myself.
Yeah.
And they were honestly some of the best mentors. My ex-boss, Kitty, the way that she would greet someone that she met for the first time was almost like, I was convinced, I'm like, oh, did she just meet this person, or have they known each other like their entire lives? So just treating everyone with that same amount of love and energy, and whatever you have going on at home, leave that at home. Because as soon as you walk in your workplace, as much as you might be having a shitty day, it's your time to work, right? So I was able to experience that at my first job. My second job, I moved to another city. So when I was living in Montreal working for Corey Shapiro, shout out Corey for the frames, I was having a really hard time because I was used to being fully booked for almost like 2 months in advance. Now I'm in a new city. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? My first week I had like 2 haircuts.
Yeah.
But then I was like back to the drawing board, back to the hustle. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to this restaurant. What's the coolest clothing store here? Okay, cool. I'll go there, hand them my cards, talk to people, and then offer free haircuts, and then have everyone come to the shop. And then from there, I just kept building. And the next thing you know, I'm the busiest barber in Montreal in less than 6 months. And now I'm taking interns and teaching all these people all around the city. So all these things are just practice.
Yeah.
And I feel like even right now, it's just practice, you know? So I was able to achieve that through my experiences, and then moving back home, having some bread saved up. And I just dived right into it. I'm like, okay, I know how to cut hair. I got money. I don't got to take out a loan. So I just ordered 15 barber chairs, and my homie Triz, he had a clothing store, but he moved to Toronto. So I took the clothing store, I took the lease, moved my barber chairs in there. I painted a couple walls white, put a gold spinning barber pole, and then I was like, okay, what am I gonna name it? I named it Saint, because I go by Famos on Instagram. So Famos is a play off of my last name, Ramos. But my mom's given name is Santos, and Santos means saint.
Okay.
So yeah, that's how I opened Saint. And then when I opened it, I was like, yo, what the fuck is a corporation? What the fuck are all these different kinds of taxes? I have to write contracts for all these barbers. There's employee tax. Like, there's all these things that I had no idea. I just thought I just have a cool brand,
Yeah.
get some people through the door, which is what I had. So I was able to focus on like, okay, what do I not know? And like just being brutally honest with myself and just humbling myself, like, what do I not know? And I knew nothing. I knew nothing. But I just dived right into it, man, and no risk, no reward. And it's definitely scary taking a risk. And I feel like we're actually in Surrey, London right now. Even me being here is slightly a bit of a risk. Shout out my whole team. I'm out here touring with Lavish as his groomist and his stylist. I have decent style, you know what I mean. But this is like my first actual professional role as a stylist, and it's scary, man. I'm spending time away from my business at home to pursue something that I don't know if it's gonna 100% work. But my mentality, I'm like, no, it's working and it's going to work, and I just got to be patient with it. So I don't know, man. I've achieved a lot,
Yeah.
but I feel like I haven't even started yet, and there's so much more to achieve. And I'm at an age now where, I'm still single, which is great for me because I look forward to the day where I can settle down and find my person. But I almost feel like I don't deserve that yet because I just have such high expectations of myself, and I'm going to become that and that person mentally, spiritually, emotionally, financially, sexually, before I actually let someone into my life. But to have that freedom, I'm taking full advantage of it, man.
No, that's good, man.
Yeah.
Would you say your personal branding has got you your success that it has today?
Absolutely. I mean, I am my own brand, and it's the skills that I have acquired over time through a lot of practice and a lot of time, a lot of reps. So with the skill and the skills that I have acquired, it has given me opportunities. It has given me more clients behind the chair because that's where it starts, is behind the chair in the shop for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, I cut hair, this is what I do. So I just put everything into that. But now when I'm fully booked, I'm like, okay, well, now what? Now people started to reach out to me and they wanted to learn from me. And humbly, I've helped a lot of motherfuckers, man. And I've brought a lot of people from interns straight from high school, people that are lost in their career, have been doing it for so long and not really sure. I bring them under my wing,
Yeah.
and I keep flying, and they're hanging on to my wing until they can fly themselves. You know who you are, a lot of y'all, and I'm proud to have been and or still be part of your life. And from there, turned into education. So now I've gotten reached out by many barbers, way too many to name, but I'll name Pacino's. Shout out Pacino's, Diego, Julius, a lot, like just so many, and it's crazy to actually just reminisce on that. It makes me very happy. So now I'm educating.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I thought it was a barber. I thought it was a hairstylist. Like, why am I in another country on a stage? So it's just kind of crazy to wrap my head around. But just a lot of opportunities started coming up. So now that I'm educating, I get reached, Andis Clippers reaches out to me. The Clipper brand that I've been using my entire career.
Yeah.
And I mean, it wasn't by chance. Like me, whenever I go to these shows, I'm sitting front row, and then after I'm like, I'm gonna be like that guy. Or I'm gonna be like her. I'm gonna take their spot.
Yeah.
So I would talk to, Danny.
Yeah.
Danny Moore, I'm Success Addict. Shout out Danny, shout out Kenny, the whole Andis team. When I'd go to these hair shows or barber battles, I'd make sure I talk to them and let them know who I am and me, my brand.
Yeah.
So it's very important to answer your question.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. You was just mentioning how you've had a lot of success and a lot of great moments from like Andis Clippers reaching out to you and you becoming like a sponsored barber for them, to touring, to even having like commissioned art pieces and stuff like that. What would you say that your proudest moment in your career has been so far?
My proudest moment in my barbering career,
Or in life in general? It could be opening up your first shop, it could be anything. What would you say you're proud of?
I have way too many, but I'm just gonna say one career and one like personal.
Yeah, absolutely.
So my proudest moment in my career, I have way too many. But one that I can think of right now, and I think this would be cool because you could throw a little clip up,
Yeah.
was when I made it on the CW network,
I've seen that.
Cedric's Barber Battle. I was the only Canadian on that show. And not to spoil it, but I win. I'm a winner. But when they aired the show, it was crazy, bro, because I was on tour with Pacino's.
Okay.
And I remember we were in Atlanta. I remember that day. I'm like, I'm in Atlanta. I don't know. I wanted to wear my red Givenchy button up with the stars, this red plaid. And I was teaching before Lena and Diego and Pacino, so I like started off, and it was a full class. I'm in Atlanta. This Filipino kid from Canada is standing in front of a couple hundred people in Atlanta, and while I had to share it with everyone because I'm like, it's crazy because I'm standing here right now, very proud to be here. But as I stand here, my episode on the CW network is literally playing in Canada right now, and my entire family is sitting in the living room in Vancouver watching it together. That was probably like one of my most memorable, proud moments, and like we're gonna have to do a part 2, man. Like, but a personal proud moment. This one's pretty personal.
Yeah.
But when my pops was pretty sick,
Yeah.
and for those of you that know my dad, I feel like the only people that do obviously are family members and close friends that are watching this podcast. But for those of you that don't know my pops, he's a very quiet man. He's very to himself, you know? So when we were in the hospital with him, and I was having a hard time. I'm like, no, we got to get him out of here. He's going to be okay. He's going to be okay. Very optimistic. And during that time, my relationship with God and even some of my family got really, sorry, man, this is kind of hard for me to talk
Yeah,
about.
you're cool.
Yeah. Okay, so when I was spending time with my dad when we were in the hospital, I was just told, like, just be the rock in your family, you and your brother, and just, you guys are gonna have to stay strong because my dad has a lot of siblings and they're gonna be coming to visit from all around Canada. And it's gonna be really hard for them to see your dad like that. So you gotta stay strong.
Yeah.
So I'm literally sitting next to my dad, and it's a circle of life, man, because I was born in Grace Hospital in Winnipeg. My dad's career is at Grace Hospital. He was working there 40 plus years, and my dad passed away in the same hospital. So it was lit because we're in his workplace.
Yeah.
They gave us the biggest room. I brought a fucking smart TV in his room so we could watch his shows. All the family. There was no limit to how many people we could have in that room. And it was literally like a Filipino party, man. All the food. It was fun, and it was incredible to see my family all come together like that.
Yeah.
But a lot of my dad's employees, they'd come in and out of the room and always visit him. And my dad was the fucking man.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how funny. I mean, I knew my dad had jokes, and he was very funny to me, like in his own way. But I didn't know that he would always talk about his kids. He would always talk about my bro, my sis, and me. So I made it actually in Barber Evo, and I took a bunch of, I probably took like 20 of them. And I'd be signing them to dad, blah, blah. Like, what next? To mom, thank you for everything, yada, yada. So like the magazine I gave to my dad, I never actually saw him like go through it. I was just like, oh, cool. Well, I guess he'll just collect it, you know? Yeah. He actually brought that magazine to his work, and he was showing it off to everyone. I guess because I had a full page, and I had a whole interview, some really dope pictures. We can actually pop that up here somewhere
Yeah,
too.
yeah, we can.
You know what I mean? And his iPad that we bought him too, he recorded that whole TV show on the iPad.
Amazing.
And it's funny because you can see it shaking and stuff like
Such a
that.
dad
And I'm
move.
like, yo, Pops, I could have sent you the link, my man. Like, so I never knew how proud, like, I knew my parents were proud of us, but he never like vocally expressed it to us and to me. So I was like, fuck, Pops is really proud. You know what I mean? And for him to move to Canada in 74 at 26 years old with 7 siblings back home and his parents back home, and a couple months after moving to Canada, his father passes away. And you couldn't just book a flight and go back to the Philippines from Canada at the time. So my dad had to hold it down, and then got his job, bought a crib south of Winnipeg, and then sponsored all of his siblings to come to Canada and his mom to come to Canada. And if it wasn't for that, none of us would have the life that we have, and none of us would exist. So with all that being said, the way I answer questions, it always takes forever to get to the answer. With all that being said, my proudest moment, personally, was when I got to look my dad in the eye and tell him that I'm proud of him. And I asked him, are you proud of yourself? And he said, yeah. So that was super special to me.
That was lovely. Is there any advice that you would give to anybody watching this that wanted to follow in your footsteps and kind of achieve some of the successes that you've achieved in either the beauty and styling industry or art or anything like that, or even just personally?
Some advice that I could give to my fellow barbers and hairstylists out there is you don't have to own a shop. You don't have to, but if you want to, it's nothing worth having comes easy, but just write it all down. Like actually look at what you're gonna get yourself into. And continue to stay networking and learning and fucking travel. Go to hair shows and stay inspired, because when you're standing behind the chair all day, sometimes you can lose inspiration, and just that repetitiveness can get boring in a sense.
Yeah. Okay, follow-up question. What's
Yeah.
the best bit of advice that you've ever been given from anybody? It could be your dad, it could be like someone like Diego. Is there any advice that they've given you where you go, yeah, shit, that's great advice, and you took it on board and it's almost changed your life in some way? Now, one of my favourite pieces of advice, and it was a quote actually, it's from Jim Carrey, and it's he says, you can fail at something you don't want, so you may as well fail at something you do want. It's just such a great quote,
Yeah.
because it's true. You don't think about it, but like, you know, like before I was doing like videography, I was working in security for years, and I literally lost my job during COVID. I was like, shit, what do I do now? Like, you know,
Yeah.
I've been working in security for like years, like 4 or 5 years. It goes quite quick, obviously, you know, once you get into like one of those like 9 to 5 jobs and that. So after I lost it, I was like, shit, what do I do now? Like,
Yeah.
I've got a son I've got to pay for and all this
Mm-hmm.
and that. So I ended up just I was trying to do freelance, and I mean, I've been working photography for 10 years and videography for free, and it's probably been in the last year that I've only just started getting paid for it. Like,
Wow.
and I still do the odd free gig here and there, do you know what I mean? And that, but like, after like 10 years, you know, and there's so many times where you're like, fucking hell, like, why am I doing this? Like, do you know what I mean? I've got no form of income, so I was like, do you know what? It's quite right. You can fail at anything, so fuck it. I may as well apply for those jobs that I'm not even suitable for. Do you know what I mean? I'm self-taught in everything that I do, so when they're like, oh, what qualifications you got? Well, none, but here's all my work, you know. Like, I've
Yeah.
been studying the art for
Yeah.
years, so yeah, I don't know, it's a great quote, which for me personally changed everything for me.
No, thank you for sharing that, man. That's incredible. I've definitely got a lot of amazing advice, man, from so many people. That's why it's like I couldn't think of an answer right away. But
Yeah.
I had this one client when I first started in the first salon I worked at, and I don't remember his name. I remember whose dad it is,
Yeah.
but he's like, Scott, have you heard of the 5 P's? It's like, the what? It's like the 5 letter P's. I was like, no, tell me about it. And he's like, proper preparation prevents poor performance. I was like,
Yeah.
okay. So you just gotta prepare. Oh, it's almost like this interview.
Yeah.
I was like, Nate, send me the questions. I didn't answer them, but it was also 4 or 5 in the morning. But at least I was able to.
Get an understanding.
Exactly. So that's an example. And that's like, even I try to tell my barbers back home, even if you do a 10-hour shift and you're tired, clean your shit.
Yeah.
Take care of your shit. That's actually some great advice Corey gave me, Finished Frames. He's like, just take care of your shit. And I'm like, fuck, it's so true. Just take care of it, man. Like, and my mom, she would always be like, love your money. You work so hard. Love your money. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, there's all this money in that shoebox over there. It's not even organized. I was like, oh, fuck, you're right. But really, truly, what she means is we work so hard, and just be smarter and just take care of your shit. So yeah, I think combining all those things together, stay prepared.
Yeah.
Just take care of your shit.
All right, cool.
That's, you know what? I'm gonna turn that to my quote.
Yeah.
Stay prepared and take care of your shit.
That's your tagline.
Right?
No, that's cool. That's pretty much everything for this. So,
Sick, bro.
if you just want to let people know where they can get like at you on socials, support you and stuff like that, any socials, websites, your shop, feel free to like. give it a
Awesome,
shout out
awesome.
and then-
So follow me on Instagram at Famos, Famos. I cut hair, so you're gonna see some hair content. I love educating, so you're gonna see some educational videos and pictures and whatnot, hair related. I just got into styling professionally for my little bro Lavish, and he's about to take off. So make sure you guys stay updated with that. I'm an artist as well. I do a lot of pencil work, acrylics. I'm getting into some oil painting and sculptures. I love to do resin work. I do custom pieces. Make sure you hit me up. Hit up my boy Nate for your video needs and your photo needs if you're in the UK, but you're gonna come to Canada soon. And that's it. That's all. Follow my barbershop, Saint WPG, and stay tuned for location number 2.
Perfect. Appreciate it, man.
Oh man, thank you, brother.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of It Was All a Dream podcast. We hope that you enjoyed the episode, and we hope that you found it inspiring and motivating to help you achieve your dreams. We really appreciate you listening and tuning in. It means the world to us. We thank you for your support. Be sure to stay connected with us on social media. We're on Instagram, TikTok and YouTube. Be sure to give us a follow. All feedback is welcome. You can let us know how you found the episode, what guests you want us to have on, or you can see what's upcoming.
Well, I am Justin Lyons. Thanks, Nate, for having me on, man. I am Justin Lyons, producer, musician, currently lead guitarist, one of the lead guitarists with Machine Gun Kelly. Man, film producer, music producer, vision producer, whatever it is, I like to say that I do it all. So that's who I am. Currently just finished the mainstream sellout tour, which was amazing. And now I'm home working on new music, for a personal project as well,